Hey class admins, so actions are a pretty exciting thing that you can attach of course to all services with all different kinds of them. I'm going to show you how to add new ones, manage them, do things with them. Actions are pretty flexible and can really be tailored to your center's needs. Let's take a look. What have we got here? There's some late mail, and we need you to know that now if you search services, and I just put in court there, we actually have a new column that you can put in called actions. Grab that by the customize columns thing and just drag it in. If you haven't got a big screen, you might want to get rid of some of them you don't use. But now you can quickly just click on the actions and it'll show you exactly which actions are attributable immediately to each service. So you can see, for example, stuff that you've done quite recently or those kinds of things just simply straight out of the search window. And that might be helpful if you've got, say, a few advices at the same time and things like that. So we're going to have a look over here. We've got an example. I'll tick on the actions tab and we can see a couple of actions. There's a critical issue. There's notes. Now we'll have the intake notes if they are on the new system. Court attendances and critical issues are two examples where we've got a due date time. So that's one of the kinds of action types, and notes and all the kinds of different notes are related to more a note action type. So broadly speaking, you can say there are two categories. There's the kind of note related ones, and there's also the date related ones. So here I've just clicked on a new action, and now we need to select what action type is. You can get the full list that's available to you. Now there's quite a few there, and it might not be all applicable to you. Notes is what we had. Intake notes is the default for where people using the intake system, those notes will end up attached to the service. There's things along the lines of just general communications, closing notes. Different people wanted different things, so we've added a few things. There's instructions is another one that will be on most of you when you get started, as things along those lines. But the point is, you might have a specific type of note, for example, that you want to create yourself and have your own category for. Take, for example, a note. If you do tenancy law, you might want to do a landlord note. Obviously, I'm just making something like that up. You might want to do a landlord note because that's where you specifically put information relating to the landlord, for example. And you could easily go and find your landlord notes by simply searching the type and search for landlord note. So how do we do that, or how do we get rid of some of those ones that you would never use? Okay, action types are managed in the same way that any other standard field is. It's just a field, so we can go to system settings when you're an administrator, types and categories, and literally just go to action types to manage this stuff. So we'll click on here, action type, and now we have all those actions that we told you about. There's instructions, I mentioned that, and that may not be active at the moment because I couldn't see it. Yeah, it's not active, that's why we couldn't see it. So that's one way of hiding, especially anything that's been created that's new. You'll need to hide it from disabling it. With these other ones that are more standard, you simply hide by using these buttons. So you can get rid of the ones you simply don't need, which is quite useful. There are standard ones that you won't be able to change. The action notes, it looks like. I'll have a look at those. There might be just a switch, and you should be able to hide just about anything and only stay with the ones you need. Okay, so we can see a couple of these we could base a new one on, and this is notes, limitation date, an intake note, a critical issue, or court attendance. The reason why we've got those is there's some fields attached to, for example, court attendances relating to courts and information. If you wanted a separate one like a tribunal attendance or something, you could do that as long as you copied it, had the parent as a court attendances. But we'll stick with what we were doing, which is a note, and we're going to create a landlord note by simply creating new up here. And the parent we need to select, which I mentioned before. In general, we can just say it's going to be a note. We don't need a code in this case. We're going to put a landlord note in. And we're going to could put a description if you wanted to. That's particularly for helping users understand when they should use that. And we'll just say that's we won't make it a default. We could though, and that's something else you could add. For example, it could be the one that you go to every single time. If you're finding that it's just that everybody in your center are constantly just wanting to create one kind of action, then you could do that. But generally it might be date or a note, so you probably wouldn't want to use a default in an action type. But I'll just save that. And I could have saved and closed because I don't need to do any more work on it. And if I refresh my page, I can now see somewhere my landlord note. There it is. It's mapped to notes, which is correct, and the parents. So it's going to be easy to see. And now when we head out and do a new action, search services, grab a court tribunal, head to the actions. So all we need to do to get a new one is new, and we'll do an action type. We need to select our new one, and there it is, landlord note. We can simply put a few things in. Date of creation is also a new field that now defaults to right now, but you could backdate that or something if you wanted to. Created by is a compulsory one. That would usually as well be pre-filled by the person if they're a worker of the center, so that's all fine, and we would save and close and ready to go. You can write all our notes there. That's all I got. See you later.